How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 3.
Ladies and gentlemen, the third hour has arrived. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. If you would do me a favor and text donate to 33777, we are raising money to fund Thanksgiving meals for families in need this Thanksgiving season. It's coming up in a couple of weeks. If you haven't ordered your turkey and things like that, prepare yourselves. We have kind of been at a loss as to what we were doing. In the past, we've had my family come over and we've been busy and we've all been not well. I think we're going to go to my in-laws for Thanksgiving just for the day because I don't have the energy to travel to host. And normally I love to have my family come over, pile them all into our house. We do all the cooking. We hadn't in a couple of years as everybody's gotten grown and stuff. We used to do it all the time, but so I'm leaving after the show. In fact, I got to rush to the airport. My flight was supposed to be later. They moved it up. So I got to rush to the airport, and then I'm doing a listener event in Las Vegas tomorrow. I'm not going to be here. I am physically exhausted from the election season. Between the dog dying and people in the house being sick and me having to just travel so much, y'all just understand. Yeah, I'm bailing on you tomorrow. Forgive me. I feel guilty for abandoning you guys, but we're far enough from the election. I think you can give me a day off. And I'm still working. I realize that Eric says in Las Vegas, I got to hang out with people. I just want to go like unplug and unwind. And I gotta be a sociable person and listen, those of you coming, thank you. Look, we're going to have fun, but yeah, I'm physically at this point exhausted. So I'll take a couple of days to recharge. And yeah, you're saying you're going to stay up all night. No, it's different. I unplug and I unwind when I'm hanging out. I'm not a big gambler, but I got great restaurants that I go to. I get to go shoot guns in the desert, maybe take a helicopter out into the mountains. And I do nothing. I get to sleep late. I can go to bed early if I want or stay up late. I don't have to go to the grocery shopping or cook supper or do anything. And it's just people take care of me. Room service is wonderful. So anyway, this is funny to me. I got to read you the story. This is from The Independent. It's a UK paper, has an American outlet. It is a progressive a publication. This is from a day before yesterday. Many think wildfires are a West Coast disaster, but climate change now puts the East Coast at risk. Amid one of the worst droughts the region has seen, New York and New Jersey are battling wildfires, and researchers say climate change will make the situation work. The fires sparked amid windy weather, warm temperatures, and extremely dry conditions. Smoke from New Jersey's 3,000-acre Jennings Creek fire was observable from space, and a massive plume could be seen as far away as upstate New Jersey. Upstate, a Parks employee, 18-year-old Daryl Vasquez, was killed while battling a fire in Sterling Forest. While many associate wildfire season with the western states, fire weather is becoming common in the Northeast, according to nonprofit Climate Central. The group said Monday that parts of northern New Jersey and coastal New York are experiencing at least 10 more days of fire weather each year compared to the 1970s. John Ashbrook, who is part of the Ruthless podcast, highlights that story and then tags it to this one. A 14-year-old boy has been arrested in New Jersey for igniting the New Jersey forest fire. The teen of Marlton, New Jersey, is accused of setting the blaze that tore through near Sycamore Drive in the Berlin Township border over several days, and police are now investigating if he may have played a role in starting an even larger fire. Eversham cops, the New Jersey Forest Fire Service, and Eversham firefighters battled the inferno for multiple days and were able to contain it before structures were damaged. And now it appears the boy may have also set the massive forest fire. Climate change or bad kids? Climate change or bad kids? Here's the problem. And again, this goes back to not to beat a dead horse, not to be a broken record here, but the media narratives when these things come along are always it's climate change, and then it turns out to be arson, and they're not going to walk it back. They're not going to change it, of course. They're not going to walk it back. But at the same time, they probably should walk it back because it's not climate change. It's arson. It's arson. And that's why so many of these stories, so many people are like, I don't believe in climate change. Well, why should you when the media grabs hold of these stories and then claims they're climate change when it turns out it's arson? Why should you believe any of their hysteria? There's no reason to. By the way, speaking of all these researchers and activist groups, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration has given a grant of $105,677,209 to implement and expand evidence-based treatment for opioid use disorders and stimulant use disorders. So the Department of Healthcare Services in California has been given a federal grant of $105 million to help individuals battling drug addiction, substance abuse. But wait. According to the Biden administration, priority will be given to Black, tribal/urban Indian, Hispanic/Latinx, and LGBTQIA2S plus communities and youth. That's right. If you want to be cured of your drug addiction, you need to be somewhere on the LGBTQIAATP2S plus spectrum. Have you noticed everything's a spectrum now? You got the autism spectrum, and now you got the rainbow spectrum. They just keep adding colors to the rainbow flag. Yeah, California, you're going to get this money, but you got to be on the spectrum. Just as a random aside here. Yeah, seriously. So it used to be the LGB community. Then it was the LGBT community. Then it was the LGBTQ community. Now we're literally at LGBTQIA2S plus community. And they're going to keep making you say the letters. It's going to become dogma. They're trying to abridge it, but it's not fully inclusive. It's LGBTQQIP2SAA. That's what they use in Canada. Yes, in Canada, they use LGBTQQIP2SAA. Why? Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex, pansexual, two-spirit, androgynous, and asexual. Yes. And two-spirit is a white person appropriation of American Indian religious belief. That's right. But you got to get them all in there. I thought it was very funny. The Trudeau premiership in Canada uses LGBTQQ IP2SAA is their example because they don't want to leave anyone out. They don't want to put if you put the plus, you're leaving people out. It's just kind of wild to me. They keep adding the letters. And then they got to add the colors to the flag. That flag is, back in the day when our country was founded, not only did they add a star to the flag, but they also added a new stripe. And when they put on the 15th stripe, I forget which one's in Kentucky, I think was the last one. When they put on the 15th stripe, they were like, we're going to have a square here shortly. And then we're going to have a very long rectangle. So let's just do 13 stripes for 13 states and we'll add stars. Yeah, seriously, if you look at the flags of the early republic, they added a star and a stripe. And when they got to the 15th stripe, they were like, yeah, this is going to look dumb. And then one or two more states going to look dumb. So they got rid of the 14th and 15th stripe. I think it was like Louisiana and Kentucky. I can't remember the 14th and 15th states were. I remember the 13, but the 14th and 15. But after the 15, they're like, nope, this is going to be dumb. Go back to 13 and just keep adding stars. So we got 50 stars for the 50 states. Those of you in Rio Linda, the stars on the flag represent the states. There's not 51 because the District of Columbia is not a state. There are 50 states and the District of Columbia. Puerto Rico, Guam, the Northern Mariana Islands, the Virgin Islands, all that sort of stuff. You got it? But 50 states. Only 13 stripes for the original 13 states. They stopped that. But with this whole the queer community stuff, they just keep adding letters and they keep adding colors to the flags. Pretty soon, the pride flag is just going to kind of be this kind of drab-looking flag because you got the pastels in there. You got the original primary colors in there, the primary and the secondary colors. Now you got to add the pastels. I wonder what the next one is. Are we going to add the neon? We should add the neon colors. That would be a cool flag, that we add the neon colors. They just keep adding colors to this flag. They keep adding letters, and it's all about climate change, too. Somehow it's all related to climate change, I'm sure. The whole thing is a just cult. That's what it is. It's a cult. They can laugh about the Trump cult all they want, but these people are cultists. They're never wrong. They're always right. They always have an answer. That's a cult. I'm a Christian. I don't know why God created the world in a way that he designed it knowing Adam and Eve would fall, and it would take thousands of years for Christ to come. He could have done it all, snap of his finger, get it all over with, but no, he spread it all out in these multi-thousand-year increments of history. I don't know. I have no idea why. I have no idea any of this stuff. And that's the sign, I think, of the true religion is there are plenty of things about it that I just don't know the answer to. Did he wait? Was he infralapsarian? Did he wait until after the fall to plan it all out? Was he superlapsarian? That's what I am. He knew it was all going to happen, planned it all well in advance before it all happened. Before the first day of creation, he knew it all. He had the plan. But why? I had no idea. But man, these people, they got an answer for everything. That is a cult. That is a cult. All right, I digress. It's not climate change, though. It was arson in New Jersey. It was arson. Arson. But of course, far easier to blame, far easier to blame climate change. It lets you advance your agenda. Welcome back. It's Eric Erickson here. I got to play this clip for you. This is from Jay Johnson. He was on CNN today with Sarah Snyder, and I want you to listen to her question and note how loaded her question is, and then listen to his response. If you don't know who Jay Johnson is, he was the Homeland Security Secretary under Barack Obama. Listen to this exchange.
Let me ask you about another controversial pick, Fox anchor Pete Hegseth. He did serve in the Army National Guard, yes. But now he is up for Secretary of Defense. And, he said a few things. He has lobbied for people who are accused of war crimes in Afghanistan. He recently said that women do not belong in combat roles. But you have said that you give him the benefit of the doubt. Why?
I've given the benefit of the doubt on at least the nomination at this point, because here's somebody who was well educated, obviously intelligent, was in financial services, was in the Wall Street community for a while, could have made a lot of money, and chose to leave that, put on the uniform of our country, and see combat. So I give him the benefit of the doubt for that reason. Being, with all due respect, being a cable news host does not necessarily qualify you to be Secretary of Defense.
It certainly does not.
And so, again, this is a nomination where the Senate has a duty to scrutinize the things that he has said, the positions he has taken with respect to those who have been now found responsible for war crimes. You know, one of the reasons our U.S. military, and I worked alongside the U.S. military at the Pentagon for years, one of the reasons it is the greatest and strongest military on earth is not just because of our raw power, but because of the military's dedication to the rule of law, dedication to adhering to the rules.
Now, you can tell she really, really wanted him to attack the pick, the way she stacked it up. This is, by the way, this is the same woman who my buddy Shelley Winter was on with her and another guy, and Shelley Winter pulled out a very famous Malcolm X quote about, house versus field black people, and pointed out that the uppity society in with the progressive elite black voters were voting for Kamala Harris, but the working class black men and women of America were voting for Donald Trump. And by the way, Shelley Winter was right. It's what the exit polling shows. He was right, and she lost her mind. And here she is just asking the most leading question. Tell me how awful Pete Hegseth is going to be in light of these awful things he has done. And Jay, just like, the man gave up a lucrative financial career to put on the uniform after 9/11. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And she's like, what? Hey, what? Good for Jay Johnson. Good for him not willing to take the bait on that. Just ridiculous. Now, what's also ridiculous is you trying to get on one of those websites where you order a computer and you don't know the GPU, the CPU, the amount of RAM you need, all that sort of stuff, or you go to the one-size-fits-all big box store. When you could go to Vision Computers, you can call them on the phone at 404-COMPUTE. 404-COMPUTE. Tell them I sent you. You're going to save even more money. They will work with you. They'll explain the options. They'll talk to you about your needs. They'll build you what you want. Not just what you need, but what you want. They'll give you a great deal on it. And then you get their 5-star customer service. Not only do you get their 5-star customer service, but you get it for free. And they help you with email. They help you with printer. You name it, they're going to help you. But let's say you got a business right now and you want to... Well, you want an IT department, but you can't afford one. Vision Computer can be that IT department for you for just $179 per computer a year. You go to visioncomputers.com or call them at 404-COMPUTE. Again, save more money if you tell them I sent you. And they will give all your employees a special phone number they can call whenever they have a question about their computer. Vision will take care of them. Visioncomputers.com or 404-COMPUTE. Give them a call today. All right, during commercial break, welcome back. It's Eric Erickson here. If you will do me a favor, if you text ARMY, A-R-M-Y, text ARMY to 33777 as we start traveling around the country. So tomorrow doing an event in Las Vegas with some listeners, and we've done one in Tulsa. We're going to be going down to Jacksonville here in a little bit. I'll be able to send you emails and say, hey, I'm coming to your area. Or here's your local radio station. If you're on the live stream and you want me on your local radio station, here's the contact info. We'll be able to engage with you in ways we otherwise couldn't. All you have to do is text the word ARMY to 33777. Follow the link, put in your name, email address, and zip code, and we'll know where you are and be able to reach out to you. So I had to edit the clip. I pulled it. I did this on the fly because Ezra Klein he was with Vox. He's a progressive. He was one of the original progressive bloggers back in the day, and he's very left-leaning, and now he's a progressive soothsayer at the New York Times. He was one of the very first people, by the way, to call for Joe Biden to get out of the race, and then he waffled on it, and then he went back to it, and he's waffled a lot. And Ezra Klein, well, he's given an interview with Pod Save America, so you need to understand the setup here because you're probably unfamiliar with them. after Jon Favreau, not the director and the Spider-Man and Marvel actor, super famous director who loves Star Wars and actually doesn't screw things up when Kathleen Kennedy gives him projects. But Jon Favreau, the speechwriter for Obama, he left along with some Obama young guys, and they started a podcast called Pod Saves America, and it's what the left listens to. And it's become a very big, lucrative industry for the left. And Ezra Klein is at the New York Times, and he's giving he's talking to them in this podcast. And I gotta read this, or I gotta play this for you. I had to go in because he says the F word, and so I had to clip out the F word so that I could play this for you on the radio. So he says, "Shut the," and you'll hear it garbled. Did my best. The word is not there, but you just got to listen. Just listen. This is Ezra Klein talking to the podcast bros, the Pod Saves America guys. And by the way, these are the guys you should know. Many of them were at that Los Angeles event with George Clooney and Barack Obama, where Joe Biden had to be let off the stage for all the world to see. And these guys are like, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. This is a lie.
I come from outside Los Angeles. I lived in San Francisco until 18 months ago, and I live in New York City. The thing that surprised me least about the election was the sharp red shift in these big cities. Because if you just talk to anybody who lives in them, they are furious. And this idea that like, oh no, the economy is actually good or crime is actually down, or this is all just Fox News, like shut the fuck up with that. Like, talk to some people who live near you. The rage I just hear from people in New York, this is partially Greg Abbott busing huge amounts of migrants here, but that does mean, by the way, there are enough migrants that Greg Abbott could bus actual human bodies to New York City. And it was a big enough problem that New York City was not able to effectively deal with it, right? It does show that what was going on the border was much worse. I think the Democrats were letting themselves accept for all the cruelty of what Abbott did there. That was not like an ad campaign. Those were like actual people who had come into the country who were overwhelming border states. The sense of disorder rising, right? Not just crime, but homeless encampments, trash on the streets, people jumping turnstiles in subways, crazy people on the streets. You just talk to people and they're mad about it. They feel it's different than it used to be. I mean, in San Francisco, like the fury is overwhelming. And you see that it's not just the presidential level. London Breed, the SF mayor, just lost re-election. In Oakland, they recalled the mayor. A bunch of the progressive DAs across the country were recalled or beaten in re-election campaigns. If Eric Adams has a lot of problems, but if he were obviously on the ballot, he would almost certainly, it seems to me, lose. You have to be able to govern well. People don't follow politics, but they live in the place they live. They see if prices have gone way up, and a bunch of economists telling them, no, don't worry about the price of everything. At least for some people, and maybe net, a slight majority of people, real wages have modestly outpaced inflation is like not going to do it. Because people feel when they get a raise, that's them. And when prices are going up, that's you, the government.
Now, here's the thing. You hear that and you're nodding your head. I know you're all nodding your head. I was nodding my head whenever, but this is what we've been saying the entirety of the Biden administration. And it's what people like Ezra Klein have been denying. That's what makes it so relevant, is that we've been saying this, and Ezra Klein and the Pod Saves America bros have all been like, no, this isn't true. The economy's good. Stop lying. And only after the election are they brave enough to come out and tell the truth. Only after the election. This is Michael Cotnetti writing at Commentary. In the end, it wasn't close. Despite polls and algorithmic models that said the 2024 election was a jump ball that could go either way, Donald Trump defeated Kamala Harris smoothly and comprehensively. For the third straight election, pollsters underestimated Trump's support, throwing into question the methods and legitimacy of an industry that exerts massive influence over the media and political establishment. Trump's triumph set American politics and the American right on a nationalist populist course. Trump's win was remarkable. He won every swing state, racking up a total of 312 electoral college votes for the best showing by a Republican since 1988. He's the first person elected to non-consecutive presidential terms in more than 120 years. As of this writing, 1 week after November 5th, he leads Kamala Harris by about 2 points, 50% to 48%, making him the first Republican to win the popular vote in 20 years. He's the first Republican to win Nevada since George W. Bush. He's the first Republican since Ronald Reagan to surmount the blue wall states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania in 2 elections. The exit polls, always to be taken with a grain of salt, so that between 2020 and 2024, Trump held ground or improved his standing with just about every group of voters except college-educated white women. Yet the ballyhoo gender gap did not doom Trump. On the contrary, because Trump won men by a much larger margin than Harris won women, the gap worked in his favor. Trump's coalition is transformed. His 2016 victory was based on overwhelming support among white voters without college degrees. His 2024 coalition includes working-class Americans of every race and ethnicity. Most significantly, Trump made major inroads with Hispanic voters, carrying Hispanic men by 10 points and improving his 2020 vote among Hispanics of both sexes by 14 points. The Hispanic shift towards the GOP benefited Trump not just in swing states such as Nevada and Pennsylvania, but also cut into Democratic margins in blue strongholds such as Virginia and New Jersey, where Harris won, respectively, by a closer than anticipated 5 and 6 points. This is not demographic drift. This is a restructuring of American politics happening in real time. The Trump sweep had down-ballot consequences as well. Republicans picked up 4 Senate seats, giving them control of the upper legislative chamber for the first time since 2020. And they're on track to maintain control of the House of Representatives. If that happens, then Republican performance in the 2024 election will be more impressive in one way than the 1980 election, in which it often has been compared. The shift to the political right is evident in both cases, of course, but Reagan never had a Republican Congress. It wasn't sexism that won Trump the election. Voters split tickets between Trump and female Democratic Senate candidates in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Nevada. Nor was it racism. The electorate is less racially polarized than before. Misinformation was not responsible. Quite the opposite. Americans pulled the lever for Trump with open eyes. His favorability rating in the exit poll is 46%. A majority said his views are too extreme. Asked whether they would be excited or concerned if Trump were elected, voters split down the middle. The basis for Trump's majority is not Trump the man. It is the change that he represents. 64% of voters say the nation is headed in the wrong direction. 73% of voters say they are dissatisfied or angry about the way things are going in the country. 28% of voters, moreover, say they based their decision on a candidate's ability to bring needed change. Trump won them by 50 points. And the entire time, I have been on this radio program and across news networks saying the economy and crime and the border. And Philip Bump, the analyst for the Washington Post, has been telling people you only think crime's a problem because of Fox News. On MSNBC, they've been telling you only think the border's a problem because you're racist. On CNN, they've been telling you, actually, our economy's really good. Ezra Klein, the Pod Saves America bros. They've all been telling everyone, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. He's not a decrepit dementia patient who's run the country off the cliff. No. Don't believe your lying eyes about your life, your checkbook, your costs, the economy, your groceries, your down the street homeless encampment. Don't believe your lying eyes. Everything is fine. And only after the election are they willing to say, turns out there's a problem. Now, some of the progressives aren't even doing that. They're still saying, Elon Musk, he lied, disinformation. I got to leave. I got to leave Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. I refuse to call it X. It's just remarkable. They lived in a deluded bubble. And the result is that Americans are ready to move on. But the left can't accept that they got so much wrong. And you got these guys out there saying stuff like that. You know what it reminds me of?
You disgust me. How can you live with yourself? Just cool it, Zippy. You sit on a throne of lies. Look.
You sit on a throne of lies, you people on the left. You've lied about the economy. You've lied about crime. You've used your platforms in the press as supposedly objective analysts to tell us all these things are fine, and they weren't. And when the voters reject you, what was the first reaction of the left? Well, the American people are bad. The American people, the Hispanic voters are racist. You had Joy Reid on MSNBC lecturing black men that they're a bunch of racists for voting for Donald Trump. Because at the end of the day, it's all about power, and they don't like to lose it. It's not actually about ideas. It's not about ideology. Well, I mean, it is ideology, but ideas. It's not about public policy. It's about power. They want the power. They want the power. They don't want to give up the power. And the American people have taken power from them, and therefore the American people are to blame. The American people are bad because the American people have deprived the Democrats of their power to govern, their power to implement their agenda. And the American people ultimately will have to be punished for daring to do that. Between bank collapses, with interest rates doing what they are, Swiss America has been the trusted leader in precious metals for 40 years, and they've been warning people about a secret war on cash. If you're interested in safeguarding your hard-earned cash from the secret war, you need to listen for their free report. They're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. Swiss America can educate you on protecting your assets in their report, The Secret War on Cash. You can get it completely for free by calling or texting my name to 800-289-2646. This report on the secret war on cash takes less than 15 minutes to read. It can save your retirement and finances. By the way, the government is trying to figure out how to come after your digital currencies as well. So get the secret war on cash report for free. Just mention my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K, when you call or text 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. The report's completely free. Just mention my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K. Call or text the number 800-289-2646, 800-289-2646. Message and data rates may apply. All right, I got to play you this clip. This is Joyless Reid with Governor Pritzker of Illinois. You'll notice she's talking internment camps. That's the assassination rhetoric coming out of MSNBC. They want Donald Trump dead, and they're trying to rally crazy people to stop him. But listen to this conversation.
Can the state of Illinois prevent the federal government from building internment camps, a.k.a. what they're calling detention facilities in Chicago?
Well, we have prohibited by law in the state of Illinois the use of any of our existing county jails or prisons for the purpose of rounding people up and detaining them. I want to be clear that there are certain circumstances in which the federal government and state governments should work together to allow deportation. An example would be somebody who's been convicted of a violent crime. But they're talking about rounding up people who are law-abiding, undocumented immigrants in this country, many of whom are working, paying taxes, not getting any benefits for those taxes, I might add. And we have a law on the books in the state of Illinois called the Trust Act, which prohibits our local law enforcement and sheriffs and the like from coordinating with the federal authorities. But we cannot prohibit them, federal law enforcement, from coming into our state to conduct raids or do anything else like that. Meanwhile, I think it would be very difficult for them to just spread out across the country. They don't have enough manpower within the Department of Homeland Security in order to carry that out. So, look, I'm going to do everything that I can to protect our undocumented immigrants. They're residents of our state. And I also obviously need to make sure that whatever they're doing in our state, the federal government, that it is actually within federal law.
Now, of course, he wants to protect. Notice he says they're residents of our state. Yes, they are for census. Remember, Illinois is expected to lose 2 to 3 seats in the 2030 census by keeping as many illegal alien residents as possible. The census and congressional apportionment applies to residents, not citizens. So this is, of course, a plot by the Democrats to prop up their numbers in California, Illinois, New York. They're residents of the state. And the result is they count for the census, and Illinois doesn't want to lose clout in Congress. They know that the census is drifting towards red states and Sunbelt states that are run by Republicans. So this is actually how they're trying to maintain their power, by keeping as many legal residents there. And you know what we ought to do? We ought to send them all there. Let them. Say, okay, Illinois, we'll let you keep your seats. We'll offset your population losses. You're going to take all the illegal aliens out of Texas, though. Round them all up. Send them there. You know, Illinois, even Chicago shifted right. Chicago shifted right. Towards the end, state-level polling in Illinois made Democrats fretful that, Donald Trump might actually be able to pull off this win, something that I don't think happened since Reagan. Flood them with illegal aliens. Notice, of course, the lingo as well, that they can't say illegal aliens. Undocumented. Let them. Let them have them all. I think we should. Just go for it. Why not? And if New York wants them as well, if Kathy Hochul wants them, go for it. Go for it. I'm totally willing to let these states be flooded with illegal aliens until the mass deportations. And by the way, I got a lot of people out there like, we can't do the mass deportation. No, I think we can. I think we should. We're going to start with the criminals, the gang members and all that, and go from there. I think we should. That we should not allow a country to operate with a class of serfs. Whether you think we need them to pick crops or not, find a legal way for them to be here, to stay here, and go home. But to reward illegal immigrants is no reward for those who came here legally and did the right thing. You're incentivizing criminal behavior. All right, that's it. I'm leaving. I'm not going to be here tomorrow. You guys have a great rest of the week. I will talk to you on Monday. Don't forget to text DONATE to 33777 and help feed people Thanksgiving.